How to manage pawn structures in chess middle game. Managing pawn structures in the middle game is a key aspect of chess strategy. Pawns are not just pieces on the board, they form the backbone of your position. Understanding how to use them effectively can greatly influence the outcome of the game. First, recognize that pawns shape the board and dictate how your pieces can move. A solid pawn structure supports your pieces, while weaknesses like isolated or doubled pawns can become targets for your opponent. Next, familiarize yourself with common pawn structures. For example, the isolated queen's pawn, hanging pawns, and the Carlsbad structure each suggest different strategies. Knowing your pawn structure type helps you plan your moves effectively. It's also important to avoid creating pawn weaknesses. Doubled pawns, backward pawns, and isolated pawns can be exploited by your opponent. These weaknesses often lead to a disadvantage, so keeping your pawn structure healthy is essential. Controlling the center is another vital strategy. Central pawns on squares like d4, d5, e4, and e5 are more powerful than pawns on the sides of the board. They control key squares and provide space for your pieces. When exchanging pawns, aim to trade your flank pawns for your opponent's central ones to strengthen your position. Using pawn breaks wisely can also change the game. A pawn break is when you push a pawn to challenge your opponent's structure. This can open files for your rooks or create strong outposts for your knights. However, only make these moves if they improve your position. Adapt to the type of position you are in. In closed positions, knights are more effective because they can jump over pawns. In open positions, bishops shine due to their long-range capabilities. Your pawn structure often determines whether the position is open or closed, so manage it accordingly. Look for weaknesses in your opponent's pawn structure, such as backward or isolated pawns. Targeting these can restrict their mobility and give you an advantage. Finally, consider pawn majorities. Having more pawns on one side of the board can lead to passed pawns in the endgame. In the middle game, maneuver to support your majority while preventing your opponent from doing the same. By carefully managing your pawn structures, you can create a strong foundation for your pieces and dictate the flow of the game. Always think about how your pawn moves affect your structure and your opponent's. Avoid unnecessary pawn moves that could weaken your position.